Have you ever found yourself playing Minecraft and you've gotten to the point where you've made your massive castle, you've made lots of different farms, you've explored all the different terrain, conquered the nether, beat the wither, gone to the end, got everything you've kind of done, and then you kind of run out of things to do. In a game that's sandbox and limitless possibilities, it sometimes feels impossible, but I think a lot of us end up finding this. That, or sometimes we find an aspect of Minecraft that it tends to be really annoying. Or for me, that can be inventory management, storage systems, or even something as little as chopping down trees. I don't know why, but I hate chopping down trees. Well, luckily for us, if you're playing Java Edition, there's a solution for that. Mods, obviously. If you've been here for a while, welcome back. But if you haven't, welcome. McCastle here, and I like to cover different mods and kind of go through I like to go in detail on how they work and how to use them. And I really enjoy this kind of thing, and I think it can be very helpful. I find it beneficial when I'm trying to learn a mod, find a video. I started out with some mods that I couldn't find videos on, so I did the hard work and I got dug in and I made tutorials for them. Well, I've continued to do that and I enjoy doing that. But one thing I tend to run into is I get questions like, hey, I'm in survival and this doesn't work. And the problem with this sometimes comes up is because I tend to just take the mod, especially if it's a bigger mod or it's a newer mod, and load into Creative World, play around with a ton, learn all the stuff, see how things work, see how things are made, and maybe go into survival mode to test a few things out, but not going from a start scratch, get to the end of the mod, and build that progress through survival. I haven't done that with a lot of the mods by the time I put out a video. All the mods I've been putting videos out for, I tend to enjoy and I tend to add them to my mod pack, and I get playing with them later on as I'm just doing my own playing. But that sometimes doesn't come through in my videos, especially when it's a newer mod, like I said. So what I've decided to do here in 2025 is I'm going to create a survival world where instead of a curated mod pack, which is what I spend a lot of time doing for myself or for others, is I've just kind of created a kitchen sink where I've just dumped a crap ton of mods. And remarkably, it's working, which if you've built mod packs in the past, you know that it's amazing that we've gotten to a point where you don't have to tweak every little thing of a mod to make it work. And I love that. So here we are in a brand new world, and we're going to go through and I'm going to cover mods in here now. I'm going to almost have 2 lines of videos here. My first one will just be kind of chill, playing through, building up this world, creating testing areas and creating ways to gather resources so that we can cover these mods. And then another line of videos where I will cover either like a group of mods, like for example, today we're going to look at quality of life mods and utility mods that I love and that I think make my Minecraft experience better and could potentially help make your Minecraft experience better. On top of, in the future covering terrain generation mods or, tech mods, or taking time to make one video about a specific mod or early game mods, doing those kind of groupings, that kind of stuff. And I think that's going to be a lot of fun. And I think doing it through this whole experience in one world should be pretty interesting. It's something I've kind of had an idea of before, but hasn't really formulated. So I'm excited for that. I've talked a lot. Let's start in by talking about quality of life mods, utility mods as we get started here. So one of the first things we're looking at here is this might not look the same as some of what you guys see when you're playing. First off, there's a few things that are obvious. I've got shaders on. Currently, I am using Oculus and Embeddium because I'm using Forge. I'm playing in Minecraft version 1.20.1. I feel like it's got the biggest range of mods up to date at this moment, so that's kind of what I'm running with. If you come in here, you can see I'm using BSL shaders 8.4. You can change your shaders inside of here, tons of different things. I love shaders because you can really make it look nice, and it's a whole different look. Now, I do understand that shaders can be resource intensive, so they don't work for everybody. There's some lighter version shaders that work better. If things get too buggy around my base as we get going, I might disable shaders. I don't know. For now, we're going to play with them. The other thing is it might be hard to see, but off in the distance there, we're seeing pretty far for a Java edition. And that's because I'm actually running Distant Horizons, which has come a long way in the last several months in that it's working with shaders, which is awesome, and just the whole performance of it. Let's get down here. Oh my gosh, what the crap are those? Short? So I mentioned that I just dumped a bunch of mods in here, and I'm actually not sure what those ones are for. So we're going to make our way over here where we'll be a little bit safer. Well, so one of the first things I talked about is I severely dislike chopping down trees. I hate the whole concept of punching wood and going through the motion of walking all the way up, making sure you got all the blocks so that the leaves will eventually decay. I don't know. For me, it's one of those parts of Minecraft I really don't enjoy. So one of the first mods I tend to install is some sort of tree chopper mod. So tree capitator or falling tree, I think, is the one that I'm using currently. They all kind of do similar things. Some have different uses. I really like them. Again, it doesn't, for me, break the immersion. I know some people are like, well, that's cheating, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. If you don't like playing Minecraft that way, that's perfectly great. And I think that's an important thing to remember when... Oh. I must have it backwards in this one. Usually I have it where you have to crouch in order to break the leaves. As you see, it breaks the leaves. It has fast leaf decay. There's tons of different, settings on these different mods that you can add. And I've used most of this day to blah, blah, blah on, and it's going to turn nighttime. And that's not going to be fun for anybody. So I'm going to go find some sheep, and we'll talk about one of the other utility type mods that I install and I tend to enjoy. While we're running, I guess we'll talk through here a few of the things that we're noticing here. If you see in the upper left-hand corner, I have a mini-map. That's another thing about Minecraft I don't enjoy so much is the whole getting lost, because I am terrible in Minecraft. I tend to be pretty good with directions in real life, but in Minecraft, I get lost desperately hard. This is something that I sometimes okay with, sometimes I'm not. There's tons of different minimap mods out there. There's Journey Map. I like Zeros, World Map, and Minimap. Lets me hit a button and I can explore, see what I've explored. This obviously is really filled out because I also have a pre-generator, which is another one I think is helpful. Now, I don't like that it explores my map for me. I like exploring, so we'll zoom in here. But again, if that's the kind of Minecraft you like playing, that's just perfectly fine. And I think it removes a certain piece of it. Now, there's different versions of this. You can turn it off so you can't see all the entities, and turn it off where you can't see underground. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. I'm just going to use it with all its features out. I think they're super helpful, and I can focus on different parts of Minecraft versus where the crap am I. And I know there's maps in regular Minecraft, and I've actually been playing vanilla, or mostly vanilla, with my brother and some of my nieces and my kid, and it's actually been kind of fun to get back to the vanilla roots. And so I've been exploring kind of how maps work in vanilla, and they're great. We'll probably be doing some throughout this, as there's a few features some mods add to that, but again, not an aspect of Minecraft I thoroughly enjoy. I much prefer knowing where I'm at, and I can focus on different parts of it, and that's perfectly fine. I don't think you should let anyone tell you how to play Minecraft, including me. Now, I saw something across the river here. Ooh. Oh, it's a pillager camp. That is not as helpful as I thought it was going to be. Ouch, ouch, ouch. I'm going to die. See, this is also why I don't play hardcore, because I die too easily. Oh, that sucks. Well, I died. So I guess what we'll do is we're going to climb into a tree right here, and we're going to look at some other utility mods while we wait for the, day to come, and then we'll go get our body, and we'll talk about a body mod. So first things first is JEI. It's one of the first mods I add to every mod pack. If a mod pack doesn't have it, I add it in. All it really does is it allows me to see all of the different items, and I think this is important for someone like me who can't remember freaking recipes for anything. I can search anything I want. So I don't know, say I can't remember a pickaxe recipe. I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, but whatever. Say I couldn't remember the recipe of something, you click on it and it shows you this. Now, this is also helpful for seeing what things are used for. So I'm using the hotkeys, R for recipe, U for uses. I think that's the default, but you can go back and change that. It shows you all the different things that it can be. So fuel, the stick can be smelted. There are 317 pages times 3 of different things that you can use sticks for, which makes sense. Here's a lot of different machines you can craft with. I obviously, like I said, there's a ton of different things in here. The create stuff, Farmer's Delight, McCrayfish furniture mod, uncrafting, so Tinker's construct. Obviously, a lot of things in here you can use sticks for. So that's kind of the first thing. If you're in creative mode, you just have to hold control and click this gear here, and it'll let you pull things like this is a creative menu. That's something that took me a while to figure out, so that's why I'm pointing out there. But this, you can search by specific items. You can also say do the @ and search up specific mods. So like create. Now I can see all the different things that are in create. Now any mod that has create in the title, it's going to pull up, right? So we've got create crafts and additions, all that kind of stuff. I could keep typing and get something a little bit more there. I think you can also do it with colors, and you have to have that enabled. But if you go in here to the config search, this will let you see what the things you can search by. So mod IDs is on, ingredient aliases, all that kind of stuff. Color search mode, the prefix caret. Yeah, so I don't know why that didn't work. Caret blue. Next thing is Curios is another one that I think is important. It allows you to have additional slots for your inventory, and it's cool because it dynamically changes based on what mods you have and what slots they use. So my engineer goggles for create, I can put them on my head and not use up a head slot. My backpack, put on my back slot instead of taking up a chest plate. This just allows for a lot more space there. Another one is the cosmetic armor. So what I can do is I can have armor that has all the beneficial stuff here, but I can have whatever look I want. So I have a mod on here that adds kind of these ancient armors, but maybe I want, netherite armor or some geared up armor, but I want it to look like, a samurai. That would be cool. I can have the benefits of the armor and put that there. The other thing I can do is I can just turn off my armor and still have it on and have my skin, which I actually tend to do early on if I don't want the armor showing. Another thing is these waypoints show up when I die. And that's a combination between the minimap mod and the corpse mod, which I have, which we'll go check out my corpse here in a little bit. I'm a chicken. I know, I'm sorry. Here, you know what? Just go for it. Ooh, hey, Spidey. It's gonna fall on us. Ooh. I don't know how that made me jump so much. The worst way to kill a spider. Oh, you can eat spider eyes? Is that a vanilla thing? I'm not sure if that's vanilla, but gross. Ooh. A mer person. Mermorph. We'll be exploring that mod later. It's one I've never played with, so it'll be fun to kind of explore it together. But basically just adds mer-type people underwater you can trade with. I have quite a few mods that add additional villager-type stuff, so I like that. But we'll cover kind of those in their own episode. There's different effects and stuff you're seeing, like kind of like this dust when I run. That's from a mod called Subtle Effects. If you noticed earlier, there kind of was a heartbeat. That's not a vanilla thing. That comes from that as well. When items are dropped, I used to have a mod called Loot Beams that would have a little thing, but if you notice here, that didn't drop anything. We get my body and we'll drop something. So the corpse mod is another must add mod. Where's my corpse? Oh, right here. Floated away. It has this corpse that's indestructible, which I think is amazing because I hate when I lose my stuff. And again, that's another one of those. Some people might be like, man, that's just part of Minecraft and makes it more difficult, blah, 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 blah. Good for you. And you know what? I think there's fun times for that challenge, but most of the time, I don't like losing all my stuff. And I feel like the corpse mod, it feels a little bit more authentic. I mean, obviously, when it falls in lava and floats in lava, that's a whole different whatever. We don't have to be too realistic. It's Minecraft for freaking sake. All right, you know what? We're gonna create a little riverside hut right here because I'm sick of running around for a second. Another one here, these buttons here are added by crafting tweaks. Now, what does this do? Well, basically it just has some functions here, right? So I can clear the grid in case I've got random stuff going on here. I can just pull it out. I can balance the grid, which happens if, I'm crafting crap and I've got stuff all over. Hit balance. Now I can spread the grid by holding down control. It changes these buttons to a secondary, right? So I can spread everything around, which then kind of fills it out. I can rotate it, or I can force clear, which will do is even if my inventory is full, it'll spit them out on the ground, right? Fun stuff. Now, one thing you didn't see there, we will show here, is I have this visual workbench one, which I absolutely love this one. First of all, keeps my items in my crafting table. And then it also shows the item that's going to be crafted, which I think is awesome. And you know what? Oh yeah, and it faces whichever direction you're facing, which is cool. This is also really cool when I am going over different mods showing how to craft this stuff. I can lay out the crafting table with these on it, visually appealing. Pretty cool. I love this. And it gives you 9 extra slots of storage if you're desperate. There are a bunch of kind of quality of life things brought to us by the Quark mod. Now, the Quark mod is a large mod with a ton of things in it. We're not going to go over it. I might have its own dedicated video at some point. One of the things is it adds this sort function. So if my crap's all over, spread out, if I hit sort, puts it all together. I love that. Also, I definitely wanted that pickaxe. I don't know why I cleared it. Oh, here's the other thing. So I want to make a wooden pickaxe. If I hit this plus button, if I have the items in my inventory, it'll add it to the crafting grid. It's another huge thing about JI I think is amazing. Now here's what I was talking about with the subtle effects. It gives us kind of these particles. I think that's awesome. It helps when you've got stuff that spills all over the ground and you can't find it. It's hugely beneficial for that. Another one to look at is you see at the top center of my screen, there's a mod called Jade, which is a successor of What Am I Looking At or Walia, right, from back in the day. And it just shows us what we're looking at, which seems intuitive, but it's extremely helpful. Now, the other nice thing I like is it shows us which tool we need to use. The nice thing is that if we got a check mark, that means you're good to go. If it doesn't show anything, it means you can mine it, you'll still get the block. But over here, if we take a look, it's going to show us an X, meaning if you mine this block with the tool you have in your hand, you won't get the block, which I think is another helpful thing. If you're not unsure exactly what tool something requires, that can be extremely helpful. For example, if we come in here and we grab our stone pickaxe, you'll see we come over here to this copper and boom, it works. Now you'll see my crosshair actually also tells me X or go from a dynamic crosshair mod. The difference is it's just telling me that's not the right tool, but I can still mine the dirt with the pickaxe even if it's not effective. So that's why I like the way that Jade does. Now there's other information it shows. As you see, as I'm chopping, you see the kind of progress bar underneath. That helps me know how much further I have to go. This is really nice when you're mining obsidian. Can't tell you how many times you're just like hacking away and like, is this doing any good? How long is this going to take? That'll give you a straight idea of it. And it changes based on this, right? So if I come in here and I make a furnace and say I want to smelt some coal, you see here the Jade actually shows me what my fuel is, what my input is, and what my output is. You see there, and as well as the progress, which again, awesome. I think it shows a lot of important information. You even can show liquids. You can toggle liquids on and off if you want to be able to see the block underneath. I think there's a hotkey for that. The mod settings, display fluids, any source only, none. Right? So say I wanted to see only source. This could be helpful if you're trying to find all the source blocks. Again, once I'm underwater, it shows me the block I'm looking at. I'm actually going to go into third person for this next one. This one's called Better Combat, which we'll go over a lot more, but it kind of just changes the whole combat system. Allows me to just kind of hold the thing down and do attacks instead of having to wait on the specific timing. There's also certain mods that tie specifically into this and have special moves and things like that with different weapons. I think it really adds a lot to Minecraft, and because the combat system is pretty bad. But I recently was playing some Bedrock and that's worse. Java's much better on that. Java's better on everything, but I didn't tell you that. I might be a Bedrock hater. As you just saw there, it announced which one I was going to. That's Traveler's Titles. I love it. It just adds a little bit of immersiveness, showing me which biome I'm going to. It shows you whatever. If there's a named region with like a waystone or something, or other thing like that. I also have one called Clickable Advancements. So if you click on the text chat of it, it'll take you to that advancement, which I think is pretty cool. And one of the things we're going to be doing throughout this series is as I look at different mods, I'm going to be looking at their advancements, because I think that's a great way that mod creators give ways for you to understand how to use their mod. So we'll be looking at those while we're kind of going through our different mod tutorials. Here's another cool generation one. This doesn't really have to do with quality of life or utility, but it's a cool one since we're going across it. It's the Realm RPG Fallen Adventures. Oh, shoot. Sometimes they spawn skeletons, and that sucks. I was going to show you that normally they drop stuff, and sometimes they spawn skeletons. I guess let's take a look at our map here. I think there's, oh yeah, see there's a village over here, and a village over there, and it looks like a village back there, and a village there. So I pre-generated this so that way it would load in the distance horizons, as well as just, it's a lot easier. So you set it to pre-generate. and you can just pause the game and it'll generate the chunks in the background. You go do it overnight or whatever. And that gives us a big section because when you're exploring new stuff, especially when you have a lot of mods and stuff, it tends to be jerky. So this one in particular is called Chunky. It's pretty easy. It's just done with commands. You don't have to be in creative to run the commands either. Just Chunky. You can change where it's centered at, the pattern. You can change the radius and just let it run in the background. And the nice thing is that it will generate the Distant Horizon LODs as it goes. Now, Distant Horizons will give you a warning saying, hey, you've got Chunky installed that can create holes. So if you see a big hole as you're running around in your Distant Horizons map, that's probably why. And I'm okay with that. Actually, if we're being honest, I can forgive a hole here and then and not having to wait forever as I'm playing. Bye-bye, Corpsey. Now that will... So if it takes you forever to get back to your corpse, this will actually turn into a skeleton laying on the ground. I think there's even a config that you can turn on and off that it will actually start spawning skeletons if you take too long. Sucks, especially if you're coming back without anything in your inventory. Now the next one is actually pretty subtle. It's hard to see there along my food bars. It actually shows me how much saturation I'll get from eating whatever food I'm holding. And behind it, there's actually this kind of black mesh that goes down as your hunger goes down. And this is from a mod called Apple Skin. It's a very simple mod, but again, it just gives you more information on your food consumption and your different saturation levels, how fastly you're running through that. It's just another one of those quality of life mods I think is a good one to have. Now, some of these are actually client side only, which is cool because you can use them on just about any server you're playing on, unless the server has rules against them, right? So where this might come into play is like with the minimap, for example. That can be a client side only mod, and if it is, it doesn't display all the same information necessarily. But what it does do is, again, allows you to run it on a vanilla server. The other ones like the Apple Skin, that's completely client-side. The Jade can be client-side. There's certain information that it won't show if it's not client-side, that kind of stuff. Better F3 is another one I like. This is a lot cleaner F3 menu, and there's actually, I think, some customization. I tend to just throw it in, but it gives me the information in a lot more readable function for myself. Another one I have on that I like is this blur mod. So basically, it just blurs everything behind my screen when I pause or whatever. In fact, I usually install this so I kind of forget what it looks like without it on, if we're being completely honest. Oh, perfect. It's the tent one, which means what is going on? Is that all the villagers? No, it's just the guard villagers. It's the, I'm sure this is the, I think this is an incompatibility with the entity animation one. Let me see if there's a fix for that, because it's kind of creepy. All right, so this is another place where this comes in handy. Sort, you can filter, you can lock these. So what shift lock does is it stops me from pulling anything all the way in that's not already in this inventory, which is nice if you've set up your chests with, this is my cobblestone chest or whatever, right? But I can always just grab these and boom, I extracted it all. One quick button. Love that. Love you, Quark. Quark is one of my all-time must-haves. It's another one of those quality of life / utility mods that I think is a must-have. I've actually done a video on it already. I cover it in every series I've done, and that is Comforts, which adds sleeping bags. And just like that, 3 wool across, no planks, and easy these. And you can dye them, you can use different wool, all that kind of stuff. And you can only sleep at night. They make a hammock, which makes you so you can skip the day, which is also awesome. Super cool mod, super useful. There'll be a few more utility mods, such as Waystones, which I have covered in a video in the past too, that I tend to install. Now, Waystones is one of those ones that I usually install it. I struggle with it because I'm like, I want to use trains from Create more, or I install the plane mod. I want to use the planes more. And then I find myself spending so much time traveling from place to place that you don't have a lot of time to record and play. It makes it hard. I added Waystones. I'm going to try and only use them some of the time. I'm not going to promise none of the time, but I think they're super useful. And if you're just trying to play and get around, they're super useful. You can adjust there's a ton of configurations of it. You can make it so they're expensive to use experience wise. You can make it so you can only travel with them if you're going going so far. You can make it so you can't go from dimension to dimension. There's a ton of different settings. Another one of the reasons I love it. One mod I don't have installed here, which maybe I'll install it to take a look at it, and that's the Looter's Chest. I think it's a really cool mod, especially for any multiplayer setting. Basically, it creates player-specific loot tables for all of the different loot chests. So say I come in here and I raid this village. If I'm playing on a multiplayer server, that's now looted. All that loot's gone. If you have Looter installed, I can clean out that chest. It'll change the chests. I just need to install the mod. It'll change the texture on it to a different color for me, showing that I've done it. But someone else looks at it, they'll still see the normal gold texture, and they'll know that there's still loot to be had in there. They can open it and get their own loot out of it. Cool stuff. Well, I've yammered on enough in here that I'm sure you're all very sick of hearing me yammer. So I'm going to stay here in this village. I'm going to do some of the vanilla gather resource stuff, and we'll continue this kind of series of looking at building this world in order to use it to showcase mods and play around with them in survival versus just doing it in creative. And I'll also be producing those specific mod type videos kind of as a separate thread. So look forward for those. And again, welcome back to anyone who's watched. Welcome to those who are new. I hope to see you in the next video. And if you have any mods specifically that you would like me to look at or add to this, feel free to leave them in the comment, ask a question. Let me know if you're like, hey, this is kind of dumb. I'd rather you just go back to the creative stuff. All the feedback welcome, take into consideration, and we'll go from there. Anyway, hope you're having a great new year and that it started off with a good January and head into a good February. And we will catch you in the next one.